Okay, everybody. Here is just another one of my cars. I've mentioned it once or twice in a video, but this is my 1966 Delta 88. It's got the 425 Olds in it, rated at 360 horsepower. It's got pretty nice patina on it. The interior is pretty much in mint condition. Fuel gauge doesn't work. I picked her up for less than $2,000, and the floor is factory undercoated, but the frame is not. So there is a rough spot in the frame. If you look back here, right in there, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but right in here, the frame is, it's okay. There's a hole that I gotta fix, but I mean, it's not like it's weak, but it is a little thin, so I'd like to patch it. And the quarters are a little, like, that's rough. Back here is getting rough. Right there is pretty bad. This dent I gotta fix. Find some new trim for it too. Along here it's pretty bad too. And then back here it definitely gets to be the worst. This trim is rusted away. But it's complete. It's 100% original, and it has an aftermarket air conditioning by Celebrity in Fort Worth, Texas. And we'll show you that later. The AC is not hooked up. There isn't even a belt on it. And we'll show you the interior. But we'll start with how rusty the trunk is at this point. No, it's the round key. And there is not a battery in this car right now. So sadly, none of the lights or anything, and I won't be able to fire it up. But it is a B body. It's clean. It has a trunk light. But the rust is pretty bad on the sides of the trunk. And it's got that classic B-body trunk echo that you can see. It's a little rusty. So she could really use as you can see, some sunlight right in there. But she could use a full restoration, and I hope maybe when my truck is done, I'll be able to get her up to my shop and start working on her at the same time as the Mustang. I mean, that would be ideal. Slap her on the trailer and really get her worked on. Not fully restored, but get her safe. Get her road legal. And I think we'll check out the engine bay now. Let's see if I remember how to pop the hood on this sucker. Let's see, I don't even remember. There we go. Then you go once more, and the hood's open. So, here is the car motor. It's the 425 Super Rocket, rated at 365 horsepower. Power steering. There's the aftermarket air conditioning compressor. Single circuit power brakes, but the brakes do not work on it, and it's got the Rochester 4-barrel, and it is in good shape. Like all Oldsmobile, valve covers, they seem to stand the test of time. And I also noticed this: someone has cut this ignition wire, and it runs good for 7 cylinders. Just like the Vista does. Sadly, I won't be able to show it to you. And the radiator is in excellent shape. So, I mean, it'd be super reliable if there wasn't a hole in the frame. That's really the biggest thing. So I have to decide if I want to try and find a frame out of a different one, or if I want to patch that. Because really, it looks like just the rear of the frame is bad. Because the frame up here in the engine bay is super clean. I've looked all over this car, and I haven't found any other spots besides that one patch. So I'd really like to just lift it up off that part of the frame, or just try and patch it with the car body on. But I mean, this is my fun, not for now, it's my fun, not perfectly restored summer car. And it's quick. It has a 308 rear gear in it, and that makes it fly. And the doors, inside the doors, it gets a little crusty, as you can see right there. But other than that, like, the sill plates are in good shape. The car is really clean. This is an original Iowa car with 62,000 original miles on it. And the steering wheel is in phenomenal shape. No cracks. Everything works. The horn, the circuit's good, but the horn itself is bad. It has a lighting package on it as well, so it has footwell lights and a map light, a glove box light. Some of the panels are a little rough. Like back there, if you look at that armrest, it's just a little damaged. Back here it's a little damaged. But for the price I got this car, it is in excellent shape. And it is missing the mirror that came with the package. The car came with every single registration since it was new. The original title, 2 build sheets, and it's just, I like it a lot. I love the color. And the aftermarket air is cool. I mean, it's gonna stay in even if it doesn't work. I think it was added sometime in the 70s. But I think it's super cool that it has aftermarket air conditioning. It has chromed out pedals too, which is just awesome. And carpeted kick panels. I've never seen carpeted kick panels on any other car. But I think that just makes it seem so much more homey. It's just really, really cool in my opinion that we have carpeted kick panels. And the vents I believe are motor operated right here. You hit this and it will open the vents on the side, unlike the pull tabs on a lot of other cars. And the radio speakers are out, but the radio does work. And it does have the front and rear speakers. So there's a speaker up there, and there's a speaker right there on the side and the back. You can see where it's sunk in a little bit. So there are front and rear speakers. The ashtrays in the back are good. The chrome on the inside's really good. It's just, I love this car, and I really, really want to drive it. I think this car is going to get plates this year. We're just going to fix the brakes and patch the frame and do some burnouts on these old tires because I just really want to drive it. The mirror is not remote. So that is a little disappointing, but I mean, it is cool. I like the design on the mirror, which I'll show you in a little bit. It does not have a factory clock, which I wish it did, but you know, can't have everything. I'm not complaining. And if I find one, I can always add it. But I like that it has, I love the controls in this car. I've never seen another control with this kind of dash and this kind of control layout. It's like they just sort of found random spots to put stuff. This is fairly symmetrical in here. You have 2, 1, 1, 1, and then 2. And then just sort of the radio there. But it's such a weird dash, as my buddy Andrew Bender keeps pointing out. Another thing I love is his and her ashtrays. So, and all the lights work. There are lights in each one of these ashtrays. So you have your ashtray for you driving the car right there. And then you come over here and the missus can have her own ashtray. So this car has 4 ashtrays because you have 2 in each of the passenger doors too. And one of my favorite things about this car when I drove it up on the trailer is I love taking this hexagon key and leaning forward to put it in the dash. Just like that. And then just cranking it over. Sadly, there's no battery. Yeah, it's just, I love this car. And the wipers, the driver's side goes like this and the passenger side goes like that. which is another really... This is... In the mid-60s, they made cars unlike cars today. I think in 1970, cars started to become cars what we know today. You know, locking keys in the steering column. They began to become cars as we see them today. So I don't think they're as unique or as different. I wouldn't say they're still unique. Like my 1970 Cutlass is still a very unique car, but it's much closer to a normal car today. It's just something about 60s cars, like this B body and my Cutlass. I'd be touching the door right now, and I just can't. It's just expanse. And another one of my favorite interior details on this car is that it has the Fisher body carriage on the seat belts instead of the GM Mark of Excellence. That I love. That is just that luxury touch. I think Oldsmobile really hit their mark with this car. It's gorgeous. The colors are gorgeous. It's got the chrome strip right down the hood on this massive hood. The back of the mirror chrome. This is chrome. There's just so much chrome in this car, and it's big. And I've driven it around my grandmother's lawn here, and it is so comfortable on this uneven lawn. It smooths everything out, even on these old tires. It's just, oh my gosh, I love this car. The mirrors, it's getting a little rusty, so we'll have to fix it. But the vent mirrors do work, and they are stiff, but they do work. One thing I don't like about 60s cars, like on this car and my 67 Mustang, is that the window cranks are so freaking tiny. So that when they get stiff, like they do, they're a little bit harder to turn than the 70s cars with the bigger plastic knobs. And the air conditioning does work. Like the electronic system does work, even though the compressor is not the compressor is not belted up, and there is probably no refrigerant in the system because it leaks, probably. But the fan works and the motor control works. It's just, you guys will probably see more of this car. It does have the original floor mats, which, as you know, I love seeing original floor mats in cars. But these are the ones that came with the car when it was new, and that is just an extra touch I really like. But the rears, I'd have to look at the option sheet again. It either did not come with rears or they're gone. I don't know. It's just, this car is, I know I keep saying it, but I love this car. I love the lighting package that's in it. I love the radio. I mean, it's just, the glove box opens right up, and it's got this nice machined aluminum interior. And with the tire loads and the light works, there's where you put your registration. There's actually a parking ticket in here from the original owner. And again, with this car, like most of my others, I am the third owner. The guy I bought it from, he bought it at an estate sale from the original owner. And he probably could have parted this car out for around $4,000, and he actually had it listed for about $2,500. And I waited on a little bit, and he dropped the price to around $1,700, and then I jumped on it, and I drove out from Wisconsin. We drove, my goodness, we drove quite a ways. It was into Iowa, but I live on the east side of the state, and he lived in the middle of Iowa. So it wasn't like just popping over the border to go get this car. It was 12 hours of driving round trip to go and get this car, and it was icy and snowy. And there was actually a point when we got this car that the trailer went perpendicular to the road, like perfectly sideways, but then straightened out, and it was just fine. So getting this car was not easy, but it was just, I'm so glad I did. I mean, I haven't even been able to drive it, and I love it this much. It's just this, it's just something about this car is special. I mean, my buddy's got that 68 Pontiac, and that thing's great on the inside. I like it. I like riding in it. I love the feel of it. But this car, I like it. I just like the styling way more. I love the front end way more, even with that dent. I love the color. I love how much chrome there is. It doesn't feel super homey like my buddy's 68 Pontiac with the dark color, but it feels, it's indescribable. It feels like a spaceship, like a rocket, as they call it, the Rocket 425. So it's just a phenomenal car, despite the rust. I'd really like to just patch the frame, maybe get the fuel gauge working. And again, with these lights, these lights interest me because we have generator, which I know what it does, oil, brake, and hot. There's also a cold light. I don't know if you turn it on and when that light kicks off, the engine's warmed up. I mean, that'd be cool, and I'm assuming that's what it does, but I don't know. There's still some stuff I have to learn about this car. I have a lot of reading to do yet, and learn about all the options that were available and all the options I have. But it's just a phenomenal car. All the little details that they don't put in cars anymore, like the carriage on the seat belts and the badges on the door. You know you're driving an Oldsmobile when you hop in this car, and you know what it is. And that front end, I think that is one of my favorite front ends Oldsmobile ever put on a car. Like, you just go, you don't look at the dent, and you just look at it just like that. I mean, that is just a mean looking front end. So yeah, it's, despite the rust and despite me not having driven it, it is a real gem of a car. And when I saw the ad, I fell in love. But I was actually not planning on buying this car. One of my buddies actually was like, come on, you gotta buy it. And he actually pressured me into buying it, and I'm so glad he did. So yeah, you might see it this summer. You might see it going down the road this summer sometime. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, this is my 66 Delta 88. Probably one of the faster cars I own, with that 425 and that 308 rear gear. But it's definitely in the same kind of shape as the Mustang, so she's going to take some work. And I don't know if we'll keep the patina or not, but we'll see what I end up doing, because it's my car. And I can figure out what I want to do with it. But for now, it's just one damn good looking lawn ornament. And that's okay. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to get out of here and go do some actual work on cars instead of just staring at them. So catch you guys in the next one.